Hello, everybody. Welcome to Attitudes with Andy. Thank you so much for being here each and every week. I really appreciate it because this is a place where we get to learn and grow together, usually from the incredible guests that we have on, basically on how to be our best selves, because I think we're always growing and always evolving, which is really awesome. Today is actually a main episode, but it's with your girl, Andy. And today we are talking about 24 life lessons I have learned in my 24 years, because in July the 20th specifically, I turned 24 and I wanted to do this episode, but it just took me a while. Okay. But yeah, here are the 24 biggest lessons I have learnt in my 24 years. So without ado, let's get started. I don't know why I got awkward there. Okay. Number one is you're enough exactly how you are. This is one of the most pivotal lessons I actually ever learned, and it was from a coach called Peter Sage, but it really just depicts how, like, when we're born as a baby, nobody looks at that baby and is like, you must do X, Y, and Z and get into Harvard or clean your room to be worthy of love. It's like, no, they're born and they're just worthy of love. Okay. And then as we get a little bit older, we seem to think that we need to do certain things to deserve love or to be enough. And I think this is where a lot of issues happen, where people don't think they're worthy or enough for a relationship or for a job or for a certain friendship. And so just like getting in your head that, like, literally we're already enough. We don't need to do anything to be worthy or to deserve love. And once you come from that place, you're then like, oh, cool. So I can do whatever I want and it doesn't matter, like, in a good way. So that just makes me be abundant and to be like, I don't need to do anything to get validation or love from other people. I can do whatever it is I want to do and be curious about life and explore my interests. And that's going to be awesome. Instead of being like, well, I need to become a lawyer because that's what my parents want, and then that will make me enough. It's like, no, you're already enough exactly how you are. Okay, number 2 is family. There is nothing more important than it. Like, literally being with your family. And obviously this depends on your family situation, but there can be friends that feel like family as well. Okay. But there's really nothing more important than it. And when I'm with my family, it's just like the bestest feeling ever. And the older I get, the more I appreciate it. I remember, I look back when I was younger, especially at uni, like, I did not appreciate that. But as I get older, I just appreciate it so much more. And definitely as well with friends who are like family as well. Like, you can have the nicest car and the biggest house and all the money in the world, but if you have nobody to share it with, that is literally a nightmare and like a failure in my eyes. Okay. Like, of course you can strive for all of that, but we need the people, we need the connection. We're built for it. And life would be so lonely and meaningless without it. So that is very important. Ooh. Okay. Number 3, always stay true to your values and never ever compromise them. Even if you are getting offered like an amazing job or a really cool opportunity that you know would just like 10x where you want to be, but it goes against your morals or values, do not do it. Like, there have been some really hard choices I've had to make, and I know that had I gone against my values or my beliefs, that I would be way further, but it wouldn't feel right, and I'd be really against my values. Especially with this podcast, there's been a few people who do have a very big, genuine network who have wanted to come on this podcast, and I have said no because I just feel like they don't fit the values of this podcast, and it just doesn't sit well in my stomach, okay? And I know if I took it, it would just accelerate my podcast, but I'm not going to go against my values or my morals. So know your values and know your morals and never ever stray away from them. Even if, like, people think you're crazy or you lose friends over it or whatever it is, stay true because it will always pay off. And there's no better feeling than just respecting yourself and knowing that no matter what happens, we're going to stick to our values and stick to our morals, okay? So just always, always stick to it, people, and it will pay off. Okay, number 4. There's actually something better for you, and you've got to believe that, for living situations, work, relationships, etc. Okay, so a lot of you guys are also young listening to this. We're all pretty much in our 20s from the statistics anyway. Woo, party. And so it's really hard for us to know that there's something better out there when we sometimes haven't experienced it, right? Like I look back on some of the jobs I've had and I'm like, I can't believe I accepted getting treated like that. But the thing is they didn't know any better, okay? And then once I quit one of my most shitty jobs, which was last year, I was like, no way will I ever get accepted like that again. There is something out there and it will find me. And lo and behold, now my job, I get treated so, so amazingly. Like it is the best job, the bestest boss, the bestest situation I've ever had. And I know that there is still something better. And it's not me coming from a place of unsatisfaction. It's just coming from a place of just knowing that there is something better. With relationships, friendship-wise, let's talk about friendships. My old friends, as I've said, just didn't sit well. Okay, there was just one group that I've ditched. Like my school friends I'm still so close with, but this was a different group of friends. Anyway, and I'm not close with them anymore because I just didn't feel that deep connection, and I just kind of knew what I wanted, and I didn't know exactly what it would look like, but I knew what I wanted and I knew there was something better. And so I left that, and maybe I walked alone for a little bit. But my God, the friends I have now, the level of conversations we have, the level of trust, the level of respect is just second to none. And I'm constantly in awe of my friends and just how high achieving they are and how much that pushes me. That is just okay, there was something better, and I didn't know exactly how it would look like, but I just believed that it was out there. And the last point of this is in maybe an intimate relationship. I look back on the shit that I used to accept, and I'm like, what was I doing? And then the last time I got my heart broken, I was just like, nah, never again. I will not accept this. I will not accept anything but getting treated like a goddamn queen. And now the person that is in my life, I'm in awe because I'm just whoa, you are literally everything that I said that I deserved. And yet I didn't know how it would look and feel. And now it's happening. And I'm whoa, it is real. It is out there. So I just think we should never, ever accept anything but the best for us and know that it's 100% possible and it's 100% out there. So just don't settle. We're in our 20s, guys. We're not settling, okay? And then also obviously being grateful for what you have and not just looking for the next best thing. I think it's a balance, right? But if you're in a job that's just mediocre, but you don't really vibe with your people and you don't really vibe with your job and you don't really vibe with your boss, there's 100% something out there, guys, okay? So I really expanded on that point, but I felt very passionate about it. Okay, number 5, no one is coming to save you or hand you your dreams. This was such a big one, especially beginning of last year when I was just jobless, homeless, freshly graduated from uni, clueless, all of it. I was just, all over the place. And I remember just sitting and waiting and feeling frustrated because I was just wanting somebody to come and save me. And I was wanting somebody to just come and hand me my dreams because I knew what I wanted. I just felt like I was so far from it and I just didn't know where to start. And I think it just clicked in my head one day, Andy, literally no one is just going to be oh, you want this? Okay, here you go. No, you just got to take the steps, put in the work, and then people along the way for sure 100% will help you, but you have to start and you have to go after your dreams because nobody's going to care about them as much as you. So it's super, super, super important, guys. So be intentional, know what you want. And even if you don't know what you want, that's totally fine. But if there's a little bit of curiosity about a certain area in your life, just walk down that path, see how it feels. If it's not good, that's fine. Now you know. So go walk down another path. Okay, number 6, a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. So chip away at things and you're not going to feel like doing things ever. So just take action. Okay, that was a long point. But basically, a big belief in mine is like, instead of expecting yourself to sit down for like 8 to 12 hours a day, every single day to like achieve your goals and get to where you want to be. Like, I do believe in hard work, but I also think that that's probably unrealistic. And so if every single day you can just think, okay, what is just something little I can do to get closer to my goal? And so a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. I think we cannot have this all or nothing mentality. It never works for anything, like whether it's your diet, your fitness, your work ethic, whatever it is. You have to accept some days aren't going to be as productive as others, and that's okay. And then this is kind of 2 points in one. I cheated. But you're never going to feel like doing the things that you actually need to / want to be doing. It's so weird. So like, I've said it many times on the podcast, there's actually so many times where I don't feel like recording a podcast, where I don't feel like editing it, I don't feel like uploading it, I don't feel like going for that run, I don't feel like meeting up with that friend. And it's not the friend, it's not the movement, it's not the podcast. It's literally just because we're putting in effort. We're designed to stay in our like safety zones and like use the least amount of energy. And so like, if it's doing that activity versus like sitting on the couch and watching Netflix, like most people are going to feel like sitting on the lounge and watching Netflix because we want to conserve as much energy. It's fine. It's normal. So like, don't think that it's weird that you don't feel like doing these things that like you actually do like doing. So just like take the action anyway and just don't rely on the feeling of doing it, and know that it's really normal. That was also a big shift in my life because I was just like, oh, I'm not crazy. Like, it's not weird that I don't feel like doing this. So I'm all about like feeling your feels, but when it's stuff like that, I just ignore my feelings because I'm just like, well, I know it's a lie because I know I don't feel like going for a morning ocean swim, but when I do, I feel fantastic. So yeah, that's really important to understand. Okay, number 7, university is hard, but it taught me many things and allowed me the space to learn and grow. Wow, I wrote a lot here. Okay, yeah. So basically, uni is hard, and I know maybe for some people it's not, but I'm very much like street smart and creative, not really book smart, okay? And my course was very theory based, which like isn't perfect for me. I did business management majoring in marketing, and it was just so hard. Like, there were so many times where I wanted to drop out. As we all know, there was a time where I dropped out for 3 whole days. Then I cried because I was like, now I'm a university dropout and I don't know what I want to do. I made my 3-year degree into a 4-year degree. I just had, so many moments where I wanted to drop out, but I'm genuinely very glad I finished it. It's one of my greatest achievements because it was so hard and because I persisted, but also university allowed me the space and time and freedom to explore what I actually want to be doing. Because I always knew like I'm never just going to be like in an office job. I'm probably never going to use my degree. But it basically gives you the freedom to go and test things. So like, I was helping my friend Jim run his coffee charity, Nice Coffee Co, for like a year and a half, and I got to be the marketing manager there, and I got to see so many different parts of the business, and I got to meet many people and expand my network, and it was just really, really awesome. And then I also had a different podcast with my friend Freya, and that was amazing. And so university definitely gives you just the freedom and space to do that, because like, if I wasn't at uni, I'd feel pressure to be like working full time or have it all together. But also, fun fact, I get paid double what I got paid last year purely because of my degree. Well, I started on a good salary because of my degree, and then I got another pay rise because I was just doing such a good job. But what I'm saying is my base salary was actually significantly higher than the last person he hired, purely because I had a degree. So, and like, he recognized that. He was like, well, you have a degree, so I will pay you more. Yeah, so it does pay off. And I'm really glad I did it, but it's hard, and you do deserve a gap year afterwards if that's what you want to do. Okay, moving on. Okay, number 8. We are going to die one day. So don't play it safe and do what you want to do. This one I know I've spoken about on the podcast before, but I think about this all the time in like a positive light. But like, we just don't have time to be complacent and to play it safe, whatever that means, and to play small. Like, we just don't have time. We are literally aging and life is going so quickly. I don't know about for you guys, but it is going quite quickly for me. And if you speak to any 40, 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old, they will all say, where did the time go? Seriously, I speak to so many of my family friends, so many of my parents, my friends' parents, and my granny and stuff like that. And they all say, like, where did the time go? It just flies. So be super, super intentional with what you want to do and where you want to go, because you might accidentally find yourself in a job that you're just like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at it. And then you just get better and you just get given like pay rises, and then you just stay, and then 20 years later you look around and be like, but this is never what I wanted to do. Like, what's happened? Like, that's generally one of my biggest fears. And so like, now is the time to take action. We're so young, guys. We could fuck up 20, 30, 50 times, and then if at age 30 or 40 we're like, okay, now I need to get my life in check, then you can go do a proper job, whatever that means. But like, we just have the time to learn and play and explore. And so like, do it. You'll never ever have your 20s again. So just do it. I'm really passionate about that one. Okay, number 9, money does buy happiness. And hear me out, okay? Money won't buy you happiness in the sense of like, if you're already a miserable person and then you're like, well, once I have my Ferrari, I'll be happy, and you have no like base level of happiness, yeah, I think like once you get your Ferrari, like you won't be happy. And so money doesn't buy happiness in that sense. But what money does buy is it buys safety. You're no longer stressing about how the heck you're going to pay your rent or whether you can buy that like avocado on toast or a coffee every day. It buys you time freedom because you can go on holidays and see your family and friends. It buys you opportunities. Like, literally, money is amazing, and I love money so much because of what it gives you. And literally all money is it's just like little units of choice and opportunity, okay? And so the more money you have, the more choices and opportunities you have. If you freaking hate your job and you're miserable, but you have no money, then your opportunities are pretty small, because you're going to have to find a job before you can quit the shitty job. And it's just like hard, right? But if you're good with your finances and you have an emergency fund and you have your investments, then you could quit that shitty job, live off your emergency fund for a bit whilst you're finding a better job, okay? So money does buy happiness, and I think we should genuinely all care about it, and we can do so much good when we have money, okay? We can donate to charities, we can take our families on holidays, like there's so much good, and money does buy happiness. So I highly encourage you guys to get into your finances. Okay, cool. Number 10, if somebody doesn't like you, it's a good thing, okay? Because this naturally culls out that person from your life, because literally anybody I've ever met who doesn't like me, I think about it and I'm just like, but would I genuinely want to be friends with them? And the answer is always no. There's a reason they don't like you, okay? Because your energies don't match, and that's okay. It's fine, and it's a blessing. It used to drive me insane. The people pleaser in me used to just die and just want to just like change myself completely to for that person to like me. But then if I did that, then I wasn't even being me, and therefore they still didn't actually like the real me. So I promise you, not everyone's going to like you, and it's a good thing, and it just naturally culls them from your life. So it's all good, okay? And doesn't mean we have to be mean or we can't love on them. We can love on them from afar, okay? Number 11. Be mindful of who is around you, because they will shape and influence you no matter what you do, whether you want it or not. Like, we can sit here and be like, oh yeah, no, like I hang out with all these party people or these drug people, but it's fine. Like, I won't get into that. I won't do that. It is so hard to fight your environment, okay? Our environment is really, really important, and whether we like it or not, it seriously shapes us, okay? There was this study done of this person who like freaking hated jazz music, like hated it, couldn't stand it, okay? And then for a week they carpooled with their one of their colleagues, okay? And this colleague was picking them up and they were playing jazz music. So this person was obviously like, oh, I can't tell them to not play jazz music. On the first day, they were like, don't really like it. On the second day, they were like, okay, it's all right. On the third day, they were tapping their beat. On the fourth day, they were like singing, humming along to it, okay? And I don't know how extensive this study was, but it's such an example that if you are exposed to a constant thought, person, and energy, you will become accustomed to it, whether you like it or not. And so it's very important to look around at the people you're with, at the content you're absorbing, at the places you're going to, and the beliefs you're like taking in, because it will really, really affect you. Okay. So just be very mindful of that. Do a little stock take. How do I feel after I've done a scroll on Instagram? Am I learning or am I just being envious? Okay. I follow a lot of like positive content, learning content and stuff, and I mute a lot of people on Instagram. Not because I don't love them, but just because I want Instagram to be a learning place. And the next one is like, how do you feel when you're with your friends / seeing a group of people? Do you feel happy and expansive and re-energized and like positively influenced, like you want to go change the world? Or do you feel down, sad, decharged? Yeah, you get the pick. Okay, so just be very intentional with your environment. Do a little stock take every few months, okay? Number 12, look good, feel good. Putting a wee bit of effort makes you feel fresh and ready for the day. So this is something I've only kind of really realized is this year, but like literally look good, feel good. I believe it, okay? If you wake up and you're just like not really vibing with the day and you just feel like a little bit groggy, sometimes just like getting up, brushing your hair, doing a little bit of a skincare routine, and then putting on a cute outfit really kind of changes your mood and your environment. Sorry, I didn't mean that. It really changes your mood and your emotions, and you just feel a little bit more put together and ready for the day. And I learned this from a family friend of mine. Her name is Sarah, and I freaking love Sarah. And she has the bestest self-love I've ever seen in anybody. And she doesn't even realize it because she just does it so naturally. But yeah, she'll wake up every day, put on a cute outfit, maybe put on a little bit of makeup. She'll always like keep her space really tidy. If she's like making a drink, she'll just like put a little cucumber or lemon in it just to zhuzh it up. And like if she's making a meal, she'll always make it like really nice. Like she just treats herself really well. And I don't think she even realizes she does it. But just seeing her do that, I'm like, oh yeah, if you just put a little bit of effort, it really does change the mood. So this year I've been making an effort to like make my wardrobe a lot nicer. As we all know, I don't really buy clothes. I struggle to, but I've been making an effort and it's been feeling good. And so look good, feel good, put a little bit of effort in, and you just feel a little bit more extra good. Because I used to just wear t-shirts and like boy shorts. So we've come a long way. Proud of me. Okay. Number 13, if you regularly wake up not excited for the day, make changes even if they're big or scary. Okay, this one definitely relates to the time when I was quite sad and miserable. And there's a podcast back way back. It's called like Lessons from My Biggest Low or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, it was when I was waking up consistently not excited for the day, thinking, what's the point? What does that matter? Like, why am I even getting out of bed? And like, I feel sad for that version of Andy that felt like that, because nobody deserves to feel like that. And I know a lot of people could probably relate to that. And like, I'm sending you so much love if you can relate to feeling like that in the mornings. But like, please know that there is a different way to feel. And that's actually not normal in a good way, in the sense that like we can make changes and we can feel way better about our day. And so, yeah, if you're consistently waking up not excited for the day, it's time to reflect and it's time to pick out like, okay, what is it? Is it work? Is it who I'm living with? Is it I'm not excited to go to the gym because it turns out I actually just hate the gym and I want to just go for morning walks instead? Like whatever it is, you got to make that change. And that change is probably going to feel so disgustingly scary that you don't want to make it and it feels awful and like, oh my God, that's so scary. And that's good. That means that that's the change you need to make. So I hope I've sparked a little bit of discomfort in you, in the sense that now you kind of know, oh no, I think I got to do the thing. And if that's what you need to do, please do it, because we all deserve to feel excited for the day. Okay? Like we genuinely do. Life is very exciting and there's many blessings, and I know life is in waves and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not. But if you're consistently waking up and not enjoying the day, let's put in a game plan. Let's put in a game plan to change some things, okay? If every, once in a while you're not excited for the day, that's okay. That's probably normal. But if it's consistent, let's make some changes. You deserve to feel better. Okay. Number 14, you don't need to have things figured out. Yeah, you don't. You really, really don't. Especially to people in your 20s. As I said before, like, this is the time to be curious and to try lots of things. Like, there were so many things that I thought I wanted to do. For example, I thought I wanted to be a PT, and I actually did try it for a few months. And then, even though it was really fun, I realized, no, this is not it. This is not what I want to do. And that is such a win, because learning what you don't want to do is just as important as knowing what you do want to do. And I think the bestest advice I've ever heard is, like, you can't think your way through a situation. You can't be like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to be a PT. Would I enjoy that? Would I this? Right? Like, you won't really know until you're doing it and you're taking the steps. Like, you cannot see the 10 steps in front of you. All you can see is number 1, and you won't know what number 2 looks like until you take number 1. Okay? So whatever it is, whether we want to start a podcast, whether we want to start a new job, start a relationship, whatever it is, it's like you're not going to know until you actually just do it. You cannot just think yourself through a situation. So I think just taking action and trying things, as many things as you can, especially in your 20s, is literally what it's about. And so don't feel pressured to have it figured out. Just follow the curiosity and follow the inklings, and it'll all figure itself out. And I think it would be so boring to find one job that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited by the different phases in my life and the different interests I'm going to have and all of that. And so look at it with curiosity. And again, this is the time to send it. Like, I'm assuming, like, for me, I have no mortgage, I have no kids, I have, like, no debt. I just have so much freedom and so much opportunity to do whatever it is I want to do. We may as well do it now, because there will come a time where you might have a family, and you might be a parent, and you might have like a full-time job, and you might not be able to do everything you can do now in your 20s. So use this flexibility and be curious, and don't feel like you ever have to have it figured out, because that just takes the fun away from it. And what does having it all figured out, like, even mean? You know what I mean? Like, no thanks. Okay. So, yeah. And then the last bit of that is just try tons of things and experience it all. I love, what is it? Like, yeah, build your life resume. Build your life resume. Instead of, like, just being like, oh, I need to stay at this corporate job for 20 years so I can climb the ladder. And then you get there and you're like 50 and you're like, oh, wow, I wonder if I had just tried this and this. Like, don't live with regrets. We're not doing that. We're not. No. Okay. Okay. Number 15 is being single is freaking awesome, okay? So, like, when I was 19, I remember being like, oh my God, I just want to be in a relationship so badly. La, 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 la. Okay? And then I was single for, like, I'm going to say, like, wait, hang on, let me do the math. Yeah, I was single for, like, almost 5 years. And majority of those 5 years, I was actually like, oh, this is really awesome, okay? So let me tell you why being single is flipping awesome. First of all, you have so much more time and energy to just focus on you, like, especially in our 20s. Like, there's so much change happening. There's so much growth. There's so many questions. Like, it's a roller coaster and it's fun, but also at the same time, like, you kind of want that energy to, like, put towards you and focusing on what you want and building your creativity. Number 2 is you become very independent with your emotions and your life and just all of that. Like you truly know, like for me, like I truly know like how to self-soothe and what my triggers are and what makes me happy and all of that. Number 3 is like you can put a lot more time and energy into your friendships and your family relationships. I do notice that when a lot of my friends get into a relationship, I see them significantly less, and I get it. Like I really do get it. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I just want to be close with my friends. So I just don't think you should be sitting there being like, oh, I wish I had somebody or whatever. Like just enjoy it, because I always think like, say if you did find somebody, even at age 30, say if you met somebody at age 30 and you spent the rest of your life with them and you lived till you were like 90, you've still spent a significant more amount of your life with somebody than without them. And so this will probably be the most amount of time you'll ever be single for, and then you'll find somebody and then you'll be with them for ages. So just like utilize this time, do whatever it is you want to do. You don't have anybody to worry about, anybody to think about. And obviously there are some huge pros of being in a relationship, but just know that being single is awesome and I love it. And yeah, it's taken me 5 years to be in a relationship because I was just like, I don't want anyone. Like for so long, I was like, I don't want anyone. But then this one that I'm with, I was like, oh, this one's quite good. Like I just can't really pass this one up. But no, just seriously, being single is awesome. It's making me question things. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, just know that. Okay, 16, love yourself and always make time for you. I know this is like so cringy, so classic. We've heard it before, like love yourself, blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of cringing at myself for saying it. But when you are happy and feeling fulfilled and content in life, you cannot help but like shine that onto other people and everyone else benefits. Okay. And so like loving yourself is the number one step to having all of that. Because when you love yourself, you go, I deserve that high paying job that I'm scared to apply for. I deserve that relationship. I deserve to go to the gym. I deserve to eat healthy. Okay. Like loving yourself is at the core of all those things. Because like if you didn't love yourself, you probably wouldn't like dress very well, because you'd be like, well, I don't really deserve that. You wouldn't really put effort into treating your body well. You might just like eat whatever because you're like, oh, whatever. So I think loving yourself is really, really important, and it's definitely important for all types of relationships, because if somebody in a friendship or an intimate relationship isn't treating you how you know you deserve to be treated, when you love yourself, you can look at that and be like, no, I know what I deserve and I know that this is not it, and you can walk away. Whereas if you don't have that love for yourself, then you might be relying on love from other people, which is dangerous. And I've played that game. I played that game for many years, and then I suddenly realized, wait, I don't need other people's validation or other people's love. I can give that to myself. And there's nothing more powerful, literally nothing more powerful, because now I know that whatever situation I'm in, I will always hold myself to a high standard, and I will always make sure that I'm being treated well. And if I'm not, I'll walk away. And that's so powerful, knowing that you can always love yourself and therefore you don't need anybody else. Obviously, we all need love and connection from other people, but it just means that we can pick the right ones. I love the metaphor where it's like, when you go shopping hungry, you will literally eat whatever you can get your hands on, right? And that's like if you are going in looking for friendships when you're lonely, or relationship when you're lonely because you don't love yourself, you will take whatever you can get. Whereas if you already love yourself, then you don't need anybody else, and then you're going to attract like a really healthy and stable love in relationships, in friendships or intimate relationships, okay? Or work or whatever it is. Just love yourself. And that definitely takes practice. I get it, like it does. It's definitely taken practice for me. Okay, number 17 is actions speak way louder than words. So be the change and good in the world. Don't just talk about it. I think these days talk is so cheap. like if you go on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, you can scroll. And I know this is like ironic, but you can scroll and you can see people talking on a podcast and saying really good things, okay? Because we can all say the good things and we can all give the good advice, but your action speaks way, way louder. If I look at any of the people that I admire and I've been inspired by, they have not necessarily said, oh, you should do X, Y, and Z. I have taken lessons from their actions. As I said, my family friend Sarah, who I really admire because she just shows so much self-love and self-respect to herself, she has never ever once spoken to me about how I should like give myself love, or you know what I mean? Like she's never once lectured me about that. And as I said, I don't think she even realizes what she's doing, but I've just taken inspiration from that. Another great example is when you see a really good leader and they're just like in amongst it, treating their people well, doing the hard work as well. They're not necessarily saying to you, hey, this is what you should do as a leader. You're looking at their actions and being inspired. So I think whatever it is you want to see in the world, be that. Be the kind person, be the dedicated person, be the hardworking person. And that is just so much better than just freaking talking. And I'm very mindful of that on this podcast. So it's like I even cringe at myself when I'm talking because I'm just like, yeah, make sure you are doing those things. So yeah, like I hope when people meet me that I'm like how I am on here, which I know I am, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, okay, cool. I'm getting awkward. Okay, bye. Yeah. Number sorry, just had a little moment. Okay. Number 18. Travel will teach you way more about yourself than most self-development courses could ever dream of. You know, there's like a lot of self-development courses where you could literally pay thousands of dollars, and some of them, don't get me wrong, are probably so worth it. And I've done a self-development course and it was freaking phenomenal. But I will tell you that nothing has ever taught me as much as traveling. And it sounds a bit cliche with traveling, but seriously, travel is one of the most powerful things because one, you are in completely new environments and you're exposed to new communities and new ways to think and see the world that you never could have imagined. Okay. You're also just experiencing it instead of somebody just telling you theory of like self-development. Also, stuff goes wrong when you travel, like all the time. And so you get to like problem solve and also see how you are in stressful situations when you're stranded in an airport without your passport and with nobody else around you and you're midway home and you have no flight home. That was very specific, but there's just like so many little things that do go wrong and you just got to learn to roll with the punches, adapt and overcome, and it's just phenomenal. And so I just think nothing compares to travel. And also like it's hard to explain travel if you haven't like really properly done it. But people who have done it get it. And so I just think nothing teaches you more than travel and just going to new places and new environments. So it's definitely worth the investment. Okay, number 19, throw yourself in the deep end. You will have to swim and you will learn much quicker. Okay? So throwing yourself in the deep end is literally just one of my favorite techniques because sometimes we're just way too comfortable. Like we literally live such an amazing, luxurious life. I'm assuming because you're listening to this podcast, like you are in a first world country, like we just have things so much easier than a lot of people do. And so we can kind of get trapped by comfort, you know, the comfortable job, the comfortable relationship, the comfortable city. But then when you think about it, you're like, is this actually what I want? And so I think just throwing yourself in the deep end is really, really good. You know, a lot of the times I'll reach out to guests before I'm even ready for them. And then when they say yes, I'm like, oh shit, now I've really got to prepare for this podcast. Or throwing yourself in the deep end could be literally quitting your job and just being like, nope, I'm not accepting any other job. Then I'm just going to make X, Y, and Z work, whatever it is. I think throwing yourself in the deep end forces you to swim, and it forces you to step up, and it gives you that extra push that sometimes we need. And there's something in my life that I am about to throw myself in the deep end with, and I'm really scared and I'm really nervous, and therefore I know that this is exactly what I need to do. Like, if I think about it too much, it actually makes me feel sick. But I know that this is what I need, because I know I need this push, and I need this this extra kind of hit. So just throw yourself in the deep end, because you'll figure it out. You will. You'll have to figure it out. Okay. Number 20. We're getting close there, guys. Thanks for being patient. Okay. Number 20. This time will pass. If you're feeling sad, angry, happy, inspired, loved, whatever it is, this time will pass and you'll feel something new, okay? And so if you're experiencing blissful joy, or just laughing with your family or your friends, or you're just feeling so loved or loving and caring and inspired, whatever it is, obviously we love to feel those emotions. And so when you're in those moments, just nourish them and appreciate them, because they're not going to last forever, and that's okay. And then also when you're in your moments of sadness, of struggle, maybe you are going through a bit of depression, if you're angry, if you're resentful, some of these not bad emotions, but not as desired emotions, know that those will pass as well, and they're not going to last forever. It literally won't, okay? Especially if you're just having a down day or a sad day. Sometimes you think it's going to last forever, and it doesn't, okay? And so I think just knowing that this too shall pass, I don't know where this quote is from, but yeah, this too shall pass really just keeps me in check, because when you're feeling inspired and motivated, use that and work with that, but just know that this too shall pass. And moments where you want to give up and quit, or it's hard, or you want to cry, or you're just like, what the fuck is happening? Just know this too shall pass. It keeps you humble, keeps you're going. Okay. Number 21. Friends will come and friends will go. And that is okay. Because the ones that are for you will stick around, okay? Some of my bestest of friends I've known for over 9 years, which for me is a really long time, because I've moved schools pretty much every single year of my life. And so it has been hard to make those lifelong friends. But I do feel like I have some lifelong friends, and a lot of friends along the way have come and gone. And that's genuinely really okay, because some people are just there to teach you something, okay? Because all the beautiful friends I've had who I don't have anymore, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not our time to be friends anymore, okay? And they did teach me something, and I did grow from it. But there's just no benefit of us being friends at this time. And I think in your 20s, nobody really talks about how many friends come and go. Because for me, it's crazy. And it's just depending on what uni you're at, what college you're at, what work environment you're at. And then you just aren't there anymore. And then you don't see them. And the ones who do matter do stay. And the ones who don't. Okay? And it's totally fine. It's totally normal, especially in your 20s. And I think if you just have a handful of friends who you trust with your life, that is amazing. And that is such a blessing. So nourish those. Okay. Number 22, I have way more fun being sober, okay? I have way more fun being sober. And this took a long time to accept, because I knew probably 5 years ago when I first started going sober to things, I knew I had more fun, but then sometimes I would be like, oh no, I'll just drink because it's this special event. But it's funny, because why would I drink at this special event when I know I have more fun being sober, okay? So yeah, I have way more fun being sober. I genuinely just enjoy it so much. I know it might be a bit weird for some people, but that's just what works best for me. And when I first started going sober, a lot of people found it hard to accept. And I think it's just coming from a place of oh, but that's just what you do at social events. That's how you have fun. So they were just caring about me having fun. But once you do it for long enough, one, everyone just starts to respect it and you're just known as the person who is sober at events. And number two, you actually like inspire people to do the same and give it a go. So I cannot tell you how many people have come up to me at events being like, oh my God, I wish I could go to events sober, and like just reassure them that they can. And they, at first it will be a bit weird, but once you get the ball rolling, it's really awesome and I love it. So I highly recommend just giving it a go, you know? And then if you're like, nope, I hated that, then continue doing whatever you want to do. Okay. Number 23. Oh my God, guys, we're nearly there. Sleep is the biggest thing that affects my state. When I'm feeling down, sleep usually solves it. Yeah, this one's crazy, but like sleep nothing alters my feelings and my emotions and my drive more than sleep. And so I have to prioritize that. I can't be one of those like, you know, those people who are like, I'm going to hustle and I'll sleep when I'm dead. No thanks. I'm going to get my 8 hours. So sleep is very, very important. And I have to put a lot more effort into sleeping because my brain is just so excited about life. It just has a lot of energy. So I really have to put in the effort to G down and get that sleep because yeah, it affects me like no tomorrow. And I think a lot of people feel the same. Okay. And number 24 is I know who I am and I know what I want and I love my family, but that doesn't mean I have to live the life that they want me to live. So do what you want, okay? This one seems like a bit of a random lesson, but like it's just knowing what you want and who you are is really important. And I know I haven't fully discovered exactly all elements of me, and I think hopefully I will be discovering even more and more every year until the day I die. I don't think you ever just fully like, I know exactly who I am, but I know elements of myself and I know how I want to do things and I know how I want to get there. And that actually may be very different to how my family want me or want for me. Okay. And that's actually fine. I think a lot of people struggle with this. They're like, oh, but dad wants me to be a lawyer, but I actually really just want to be an artist. And it's just like, usually when family want you to be doing a certain thing is they just want you to be safe and happy. And they think that going down that path is good. Okay. So I think it's really important knowing who you are, knowing what you want, loving and respecting your family, but choosing what you want to do because they're not going to live your life. It's only you who lives your life. Okay. So do what you want to do and you can respect your family, but that doesn't mean that you have to listen to what they want for you. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. I lied because there's actually a bonus tip, and this bonus lesson is don't tell anyone about your dreams until you've done them. Okay. I'm a very big believer in this, and people kind of get like maybe offended. They're like, don't you trust me to like tell me what you're working on or what you're doing? But like, it's not that I don't trust them. I just don't like telling people what I'm working on until I've just done it because I don't want anybody's opinion or like, yeah, I don't want anyone's opinion on it because I know what I want and I know how to get there. And like, yes, I'm going to need help and I'll ask for help when I need it, but like, I just don't want anybody's 2 cents. Okay. So just don't tell anybody your dreams unless you really, really trust them to like nurture it and support you, until you've just done it. We don't need anybody's negativity, and it's not coming from negativity. It's just coming from a place of love because they want you to be safe. But if you're about to do something ballsy and they're like in a very different vibe of life, then they might be like, oh, I probably wouldn't do that until you've got X, Y, and Z lined up. Okay. So just be mindful. Okay. I just keep mine a secret and then you know when you know. Okay. And it just helps like take the pressure off because I don't like people being like, oh, how's this going? You know, I just work better without the pressure. So those are my 25 life lessons I've learned in my 24 years of living on this glorious earth. Thank you so much for listening. I know this one was a bit of a long one. If you guys did enjoy it, feel free to screenshot it, share it around. You can tag me. We are at Attitudes with Andy on Instagram. We're also on TikTok and YouTube and all those good things. Oh, and we're on Threads. Fun fact. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. If you did want to subscribe and join the party, feel free to do that. Leave a like and comment down below what episode you want next. Anyway, that's everything. I'll see you guys next week for another episode. I love you so much. Bye. Insert dab. Yeehaw. Okay, bye.